and invite you to drop in the chat your name, pronouns, where you are currently calling in from, and the name of the Indigenous land that you are on and are currently occupying. Oh my gosh, so many people coming in right now. I'm gonna give it like 30 seconds. Just want all of our friends to join us, but welcome, welcome. Go ahead and share your name, pronouns, and where you're calling in from today, and the name of the Indigenous land that you are currently on right now and are occupying right now. All right, welcome everybody. I want to just start off by giving a huge thank you to everybody for being on this call tonight. I know it was super, super short notice, and that's because this weekend it became super clear that this week, and I know it's only Monday, is going to make or break this moment. And we just wanted to take time to gather together as a movement and talk about what we can do to make sure that Joe Biden and Democratic leaders stand firm and don't let people like Manchin and Kirsten Sinema take climate action out of the reconciliation bill in Congress that we have been fighting so hard for. So again, if you haven't already, go ahead and introduce yourself in the chat. And I also want us to step back and just take a moment to think about what is at stake for our homes and our communities in the face of the climate crisis right now. Because when I think about who I'm fighting for, I know that I'm in this for my family, and I'm especially in this for my older brother, Alex, right now, who, since graduating college in 2019, has really struggled in COVID to find a job. He's struggled to find meaningful and fulfilling work. And I know that he would thrive so much working in the Civilian Climate Corps. So if you want to take a second right now, just think about what is that thing or that person or that someone that you're fighting for and that you're fighting to protect. Go ahead and share in the chat. Who are the people, what are the places that you are fighting for right now? Would love to see folks share in the chat. See somebody fighting for my kids, for my brother, my son, my acquired family. Yeah, my daughter, everyone, everybody. Oh my gosh, things are coming in so fast, it's hard to read. Yeah, I'm fighting for all of that too. Because I want to hold in our hearts also the people around this country and just around the globe that have a ton at stake right now. I want to hold Indigenous people and poor people, Black and brown people, and people in the global South who are already every single day feeling the devastation of the climate crisis and the extractive oil and gas economy every single day. I really want us all to just like totally feel the truth of this moment, the truth that what happens in the next coming weeks in Washington, D.C., that's literally going to be life or death for millions of people around the world, and it's life or death for our generation. Right? Because if people like Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema, who are like totally bought out by corporate donors and the fossil fuel industry, if they succeed in taking out the clean energy and other climate justice provisions from this budget, from this bill, it's incredibly unlikely that we are going to get another shot to pass federal climate legislation for several years. And I don't have to tell you this, but we don't have the time for that. We do not have the time. Scientists say that if this happens, it's going to be impossible for us to fulfill the climate commitments that the US has made to the world. And I'm gonna, just speak from the heart for a moment that I am feeling so terrified. And I am feeling so angry right now. And I'm feeling deep with despair that again, lives are in the balance, and a handful of out of touch politicians in DC, they are standing in the way of what the world needs us to do in this moment. I woke up at 5:30 a.m. to go visit Joe Manchin at his houseboat. He literally lives on a yacht. And I know that so much is being debated in the shadows of Congress and behind these closed door meetings. And it's really freaking hard to figure out exactly how the movement can best engage and like what specific leverage we have over conservative Democrats, right? But this weekend, it made it really clear that we cannot trust Joe Biden to stay the course and do anything without young people in the streets. We know that we need to be putting pressure on politicians right now. And we have nothing, literally nothing to lose by going big right now, by fighting as hard as we can. And we do not have a moment to waste. So, who here is ready to fight like hell to make sure we get the climate bill that we deserve and that we get the climate bill that our communities deserve? Drop a star in the chat or an exclamation mark. Hell freaking yes. I am so with you. I'm with all of you. And now I'm going to pass it to Lauren, who manages a lot of the work that we do directly in Congress, to give us an update specifically on where things are at. So passing it to you, Lauren.
Awesome. Thanks, Audrey. Thanks for that opening and grounding. Yeah, as Audrey said, Lauren, you, she, her pronouns. I'm on Piscataway land in Washington, D.C. And I lead a lot of our political work in DC, trying to make all of our movement, energy, and power become a reality in Congress. So yeah, I wanted to take time here just to talk about sort of what's happening from a policy point of view, kind of the inside perspective on things, because I know a lot of us are really eager to kind of understand what's happening so that we can best hold our role on the outside. So yeah, just to lay it all out, and it'll get maybe a little wonky, but try to make it really clear and concise. So we know at the very beginning, throughout his campaign and at the very beginning of his presidency, Biden made it loud and clear commitment to reduce US emissions, carbon and other greenhouse gas emissions, at least in half, so over 50% by the end of this decade, to stay underneath the global target of 1.5 degrees Celsius of warming. So that's kind of the Paris Agreement target, what we need to do as the US to reach that target. So that's the very bare minimum of what's needed from the United States in order to reach the global target and save off the worst of the climate crisis to come and literally save millions of lives. Not even talking about the economic devastation to this country and the globe from all the crises and disasters we face. We're literally talking about millions of human lives. So in 2 weeks, Biden is going to head to the world stage at the UN Climate Conference in Glasgow to tell the world what the US has done to address the climate crisis. And as the US, of course, does, try to direct other countries what to do as well. But Biden, as of now, is slotted to go there empty-handed without delivering fully on his climate commitments. And if he does that, that will just clearly be both a national and a global embarrassment. We turned out in historic numbers to elect a Democratic president, House, and a Senate, and finally begin the work of the Green New Deal. This work should have happened a decade ago when many of us were, I don't know, maybe not even born, maybe in elementary school, middle school. And now we're at the precipice of being able to do that, but one man is standing in the way of making that happen, and that is Joe Manchin, a senator who has received millions of dollars from the fossil fuel industry and continues to receive campaign contributions from Exxon and other oil and gas companies. Since many of us were born, like I was just saying, world leaders and politicians have known about the climate crisis and have chosen time and time again to do absolutely nothing about it. We have never been closer, truly, than we are right now to starting the work of meaningful, significant action on climate. Policies that would actually give us a shot at a livable future, that would actually create millions of good-paying union jobs and actually advance racial and economic justice. And one man is standing in the way of that. So angering. So what we're doing, we're forcing Biden, our president, to look us in the eyes and choose us or Joe Manchin. That's the question. And right now we're at a stalemate. So we can't, and during a stalemate, let up pressure when we know that every single day of delay is one further day into the climate crisis. So that's what. But the good news is that thanks to movements like Sunrise, progressives in Congress are actually stronger than ever. There are way more of them than there are of the corporate-backed Democrats that are trying to block this. And many of our progressive allies have gone on the record publicly saying that they will not vote for this bill if it doesn't get us to achieving the climate commitments that Biden made. So what will happen? What will move forward the stalemate? Biden is trying to get through with the least amount of fuss as possible. It's really a battle between these two corporate-backed senators and dozens of members of Congress who represent the will of the people and are fighting to pass Biden's agenda. And Biden ultimately is the final power broker in that. So what does that mean for us? That means this week, we need to do, and beyond this week, until things are actually done and we actually win the legislation we need, but we need to be as loud and unignorable force behind the backs of progressives to make clear to Biden that he can't give in to Manchin. He can't give in to these concessions quietly in the shadows. Millions of people are going to hold him to his word and watch as he determines his own legacy and determines the fate of our futures. So a lot is going to unfold. We don't quite know what will happen, but we know that we have a critical role to play in this week and weeks to come. So I'm going to now pass it to Claire, who is live from outside Kyrsten Sinema's office to tell their story and what they've been up to in Arizona.
Hi, everybody. One second. My name is Claire. I'm right now outside Kyrsten Sinema's office with members of Sunrise Tempe. Say hi, guys. And so I am 19. Oh, you can't see me in this direction. I am 19 years old and I've lived in Arizona my entire life. And that means that we have been in a drought longer than I've been alive, right? This is something that's been, climate change is something that's been impacting me for my entire life and will keep on impacting me. When I went to college in my first week, I got heat exhaustion twice when I was biking to class. And Kyrsten Sinema, my senator, wants to take away funds to help build resiliency against extreme heat and to fight against drought. 288 people died in my county last year from extreme heat. So this really is life and death for hundreds of Arizonans. And we have been out here for months. Over 50 people have gotten arrested outside of Senator Sinema's office, asking her to end the filibuster, asking her to support Build Back Better, right? And $3.5 trillion of investment into our futures. And Arizonans are with us, right? And so 70% of Democrats in Arizona support a primary challenger to Sinema. We've had countless people walk and drive by and show their support for us today. We've been out here since 11 o'clock this morning, and we're prepping for having another rally today, but we're gonna be out here tomorrow and the day after that. And so I just wanna thank you guys for being here. But this isn't just about Arizona, and this isn't just about West Virginia. The fact that my senator is one of the two people standing in the way of some life-changing things for millions of Americans is appalling and anti-democratic. And Sunrise Tempe and our partners here in Phoenix are holding it down out here in Arizona. So we really need your help to continue to pressure Biden to stand firm. That's the only way we are going to get Cinema and Manchin to cave and to support this bill. And this bill could help a lot of people and change a lot of lives. Thank you so much for your support and for supporting us down here in Phoenix and for signing up to take action. Appreciate you all. See you guys later.
Hell yeah. Can I get some love for Claire and the entire Tempe Hub, who has been crushing it, like absolutely crushing, showing up in force all summer long, even traveled all the way to Boston to really build the pressure on Kirsten Cinema. So Claire just said it, they are doing what they can right now in Arizona, but if we're gonna win this fight, we have to be waging a national campaign, and Joe Biden needs to feel a huge amount of pressure from all over the country, which is why this week we are calling for action in DC and we're calling for action across the country. Here's what we've got planned. You're going to hear about more of it in a moment. I apologize for it could have been a better slide, but like I said, we have nothing to lose right now. Before I go into more of this, I do just want to give a disclaimer that for the next part of this call, for the next 20 minutes or so, we are going to be talking about not eating as a form of direct action. And if that's something that's like not comfortable for you for any reason at all, please feel free to turn your sound off or just totally step away from your computer, step away from this call. But I do just want to give that disclaimer. So here's where we're headed. As I said, we'll get into the details in a moment. But on Wednesday, a small group of young people are going to be joining together in DC. Some of them have already arrived to start a hunger strike at the White House. And when these young people begin their hunger strike, we are going to need to show them a ton of support. So really counting on all of you and everybody on this call to help uplift them and just, share on socials and share really widely. On Thursday, in the same frame as that, we are calling for a 1-day solidarity fast, solidarity hunger strike, to show our support for these young people hunger striking, and just to have us all take some time to really connect with the stakes of this crisis and what it means for the people and the places that we love. So if you choose to participate in this solidarity fast, we will be fasting from sunrise on Thursday morning until sunrise on Friday morning. And I'll explain in a moment or a little bit later exactly what that means. And then lastly, on Friday of this week, we are asking folks to strike from school. But if you're in the DC area, we're also inviting you to attend 2 actions. One is a climate strike in the morning, being led by students and being led by young people. And another action will be taking place at the White House along with the hunger strikers. So that's a little bit about where we're headed. We're going to get into the details in 1 minute, but can people drop a plus in the chat if you are feeling like you want to participate in something Thursday or Friday of this week? Go ahead, drop a plus if you are like feeling the fire, want to participate later this week. Awesome. Yeah, I'm there too. I'm totally with you. I'm now going to pass it to Nikayla to get into the details of what our hunger strike will look like starting on Wednesday.
Thanks, Audrey. The next part is going to be me and Emma. I am hunger strike organizer. Emma is hunger striker. But I wanted to give some context and framing for why this movement is happening. Last week, I read this article, Last Best Chance for Humanity in Vox. That was a tagline, laying out that we have this window to pass climate policy right now. And it looks like it's closing because Joe Biden is caving and this bill is shrinking, and it's not going to be what we need it to be to avert the worst of the climate crisis. And sitting with that fact that we could miss it, this small window of time, and a familiar feeling creeped into my arms and they went numb, and that feeling welled behind my eyes. And I started thinking, I don't know that I will be able to survive that world. I don't know if my parents and my brothers and everything I know and I love about my home, California, will be able to survive that version of the world. And it's not just me and my small life. It's the fact that the United States is powerful, the most influential country. And the choice we make now in this moment, the choice of two paths of suffering or survival, it will impact hundreds of millions of lives. And sometimes I feel like we skirt around the basic science of carbon emissions, but these numbers, ppm, degrees of warming, what this bill is supposed to be built around addressing, the difference between them is pain and suffering and death, or all of us, human spirits alive and in love and at peace. And right now we are stalled at these crossroads as a country in this moment, trying to pick a path, looking through such a small window of political chance, but we've been here for a while. This isn't new. We have been organizing for this moment. We have fought hard to get people, candidates, talking about climate, even harder to get them to commit to a plan. And we got them all elected. We have the House and we have the Senate, and we have the first pieces of the Green New Deal in Joe Biden's Build Back Better plan. His plan has our pieces of the Green New Deal. And it's fucking Joe Manchin who decides democracy is a suggestion and who says no. And Joe Biden, who can't stand up to him and be a leader and command the will of the people, act on his elected mandate and pass his own fucking plan. And this story of this moment is that we are so close. And there is only one person standing in our way, and he has a mountain of fossil fuel money behind him. And I was sitting in this moment and I was reading this article and spiraling so deep into climate despair. But then I just thought, you know what? Like, fuck that. I refuse. I refuse to accept that version of my future, the version that warms past the point of a habitable planet and we dive deeper into climate crisis. I said no to despair and to defeat because it is not an option now, not an option ever. So I thought, what can I do with me and my friends? What power do we wield? Because we have power. How do we wield it in a way we haven't tried? How do we make it clear? The pain, the suffering, that this is now, that this is what is promised by the climate crisis. How do we ground ourselves in the moral stakes, speak truth to power, and make this line so clear that it is life or death, but that we choose life, that we choose love, and we are so close to winning, and we are not gonna back down without a fucking fight. Not just for survival, but to build a world we know to be right and just, of care and empathy and abundance, and at a bare minimum, where I can turn 25, not at a hunger strike to pressure Joe Biden to have a fucking spine, but to have a birthday party. Because this, the way we live, the climate crisis, it is a political choice, and there's one man standing in the way and making that choice for all of us, Joe Manchin. So fuck him and fuck that. So hunger strike. So I called Emma. And in this process, I became the organizer, not a faster. So it goes. 9 a.m. Wednesday, the White House. And now Emma is going to share.
Thanks, Michaela. So Michaela called me and she told me about this new idea that she just told all of you about. And I was to go on a hunger strike in DC next week. And at first I didn't say yes. Next week is really soon. And it sounded really intense and scary, and it's a hunger strike. Like that's a lot of sacrifice. But then Nikhila started telling me about this political moment that we're in. And what's happening right now, what she just told all of you, the fact that Biden is folding, the fact that this could be our best last chance for humanity. And that sentence, the best last chance for humanity, just like it went through all of the fog that it had been forming and building up of my everyday routine, the fog of like that started to settle in when I started my senior year of high school and was having a really good time and started to forget about the stakes. And that, it cut through the fog, and it made me realize that while this fact sucks, but right now we cannot afford to go on living like the politicians are going to take care of shit for us, like they're going to keep their promises, because obviously they aren't. And so it was clear to me that even if there was ever a time in my life, if there's ever a time in all of our lives that this is it, this is the time to go as hard as we can. And I thought about last summer, when me and my friends marched hundreds of miles to win the first piece of the Green New Deal. And I thought about the people that we met along the way as we were marching through California, about their struggles and their dreams and the jobs that they wanted to have and how stuck they felt in the jobs that they did have, and how the farm workers that we talked to and we organized with, how they get such a small cut of the money that is made by the grapes grown. And that's just a little microcosm, but how hard they have to work and the smoke that gets into their lungs when they're working and only getting cents to the dollar of the profits. And I remember the power that we felt together with this possibility of the Green New Deal, and how powerful we felt together as we stood up to Nancy Pelosi and Dianne Feinstein and demanded that they pass this part of the Green New Deal. And as a movement, we have worked so fucking hard to get where we are right now. We have fought so hard. We've organized, we've gone on strike. We've fought so hard to get climate into this bill in the first place. We've fought hard to get Biden elected on his climate agenda, and he's made promises to us. He's made each of us a promise as organizers, as young people here in this room, and now he's folding, and he's going back on his promises. And it's not particularly surprising, but it's true, and it's sad, and knowing this, we have to stand up like we haven't been before. Just the fact that I know that while Joe Biden is folding, I love my family, and I love my home, and I love each of you in this call, and I love the organizers and the people who I've never met and the people who I don't know, and my little cousins. Way too much to let this go down without a fight. That I know that I will fight. I will do whatever it takes over and over again, as many marches as it takes, as many strikes, as many days as I possibly can, going on this hunger strike. I know that I will fight, and I will do whatever it takes, whatever I can, over and over again until we win. And I know that this is going to be the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life. And I'm scared and I'm nervous, but I am prepared to strike for as long as it takes, as long as we can, with my friends Ketis, Abby, and Paul, and Julie, until we pass the climate policy that was promised, that we fought so hard to get there on the table in the first place. The first piece is the Green New Deal for climate, for jobs, and for justice. And it would mean so much, and it would make us feel so strong if you take action with me this week. And Audrey is going to tell you what we can do to fight in this moment, because this is it. No defeat, no despair. We have everything to win right now and absolutely nothing to lose.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Emma and Michaela. Kind of brought me to tears there. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it in my heart. I'm with you right now. So I shared a little bit about what our plans are going to be for the rest of this week. I'm going to go over all of that again. And I'm already seeing some excitement for this in the chat, but I want to remind everybody that on Wednesday, these young people are going to be starting their hunger strike, and we're going to be uplifting and amplifying them on social media. And on Thursday, we are inviting all of you, everybody in this movement, to fast in solidarity with that team of hunger strikers in DC. So this means that for 24 hours from sunrise on Thursday until sunrise on Friday, you will be committing to only consuming water and electrolytes. I know that, yeah, fasting, this isn't going to be the right thing for everybody. And if this is not something that is going to be safe for you, that is going to be healthy for you emotionally and physically, it's totally okay to not participate in this solidarity fast. But I do just want to say that we are inviting you to do this. We're going to drop in a moment a toolkit that will have some more resources and guidelines for you to participate. But right now, can you drop a star in the chat if you're considering fasting in solidarity along with these other young people, fasting on Thursday? Oh my gosh. Wow, that's a lot of stars. I'm really feeling that too. Thank you all so much. And then following our fast on Thursday, we are going to have another call to action on Friday. And I'm going to pass it to Jamie now, an amazing young person, to explain the school strike that's happening in Washington, D.C.
Thanks, Audrey. Hi, my name is Jamie. I'm 18 years old and I'm joining you from Washington, D.C., but I'm originally from the Bay Area, California. I'm one of the organizers of the DC Fridays for Future climate strike happening this Friday, October 22nd in DC. And the reason I'm throwing down hard to pass this climate legislation is because I've grown up watching extreme drought in my state turn into deadly fire seasons. Before I started high school, we didn't have fire seasons. And by my senior year, an unheard of dry lightning storm after years of extreme drought caused essentially a ring of fires to start around the valley I call home. That year, over 3,000 Bay Area residents died of smoke inhalation alone. Natural disasters like fires are only worsening, which is why we have nothing left to lose in this moment. We have the chance to throw down for climate this week like we never have had before, which is why I'm calling you to join us this Friday, October 22nd at 10 a.m. here in Washington, D.C., where we'll be marching from Union Station to the Capitol to call President Biden and Congress to get their act together, keep their promises, and pass climate legislation that meets the scale of this crisis. Things have been amazing here in DC. There have been actions for climate justice pretty much every day this month, planned by organizers from dozens of organizing coalitions, from Alaska to West Virginia, from Sunrise to Zero Hour to People versus Fossil Fuels to Indigenous organizers from tribes across the nation. I have never seen a more powerful group of actions. We are so fucking close, y'all. But as powerful as we are in this moment, Biden and Congress are still refusing to act, which means we have to go even further until we reach their tipping point. Striking from school caused an international change in attitudes towards climate policy like never before in 2019. And now it's time for us to reclaim our power as students and strike from school for our climate this Friday.
Heck yes. Thank you so much, Jamie, for sharing about the powerful strike that you are organizing for this coming Friday in the morning. And so inviting all of you, if you're in the DMV area, to attend that if you are able to. And then after that strike, we are all going to be taking mass action together at the White House. We're going to be joining with the hunger strikers, who will at that point be 3 days into their fast. So the climate strike is going to start at 10 a.m. and the rally with the hunger strikers at the White House will start at 1:30 p.m. EST. So after you attend the strike, we'll all be marching over to the White House together. And switching gears a little bit, because I know that not everybody lives in DC, or DC is not accessible to everybody. It's a really big country. Can you drop a plus in the chat if you're currently a student? You like attend school, attend an institution. Cool, lots of students. So if you can't attend the DC actions because you're too far away, on Friday, this is what we want. We want all students, so many of you here, to strike from school. I got started in this fight with climate strikes in 2019 as a high schooler because I knew that it doesn't make sense to keep going to school and keep preparing for a future that I'm not going to have, or that I wasn't going to have. So striking from school, especially in a moment like this, it helps make the stakes of the crisis so clear, because it is middle schoolers, it's high schoolers, it's college students, it's young people everywhere that are going to feel the consequences of the decisions made in Congress right now, that are going to feel the consequences of Joe Manchin's corruption. So to all of my students who just dropped stars in the chat, on Friday, we strike. So to review all of that, this coming week, we have a lot going on, and there are 3 main ways for you to take action. I guess kind of 4, but number 1, Wednesday, hunger strike launch. Make sure to uplift the young people that are starting that in Washington, DC. And then on Thursday, we are inviting you all to fast in solidarity. And then on Friday, we are asking you, if you live in the DC area, to attend our strike and action, or to strike from school. So I'm now going to take a moment to just drop in the chat the sign up form to commit to taking any one of those actions. I'm dropping the sign up form. I'm also dropping a toolkit. This toolkit has more information on what each of those actions looks like. But right now, I want everybody to open up this sign up form and start filling it out. I want to know how you're going to be taking, oh, I need to fix shared access. Sorry, guys. Oh, okay. If somebody on this call can do that, that would be great. But right now, ignore the toolkit right now. I would love for everybody to go to this sign up form and fill it out. Let us know how you are going to be taking action with us. And if you're on the fence, or just like thinking about whether you are going to do something that you've never done before, or something that maybe feels, just kind of scary right now, I want to encourage you to step up and say yes to whatever that scary thing is. I know that I have said this and I'm going to keep saying it, but these coming weeks, these are going to be absolutely pivotal to what happens. And this is going to shape the history of this country. There is so much that we do not know, because so many of these decisions are happening in these closed door meetings. But I am super ready to go all in on this moment. I have been fighting really hard in this campaign for months, and I'm not gonna lie, there have been tons of moments where it's felt too hard, where we couldn't talk to people, where we couldn't break through, where the easiest thing to do felt like we should just give up, right? But if we give up now, if we just go home and say, we kind of got what we wanted, that's exactly what they want. They want us to go home so that we can sell out, so that they can sell out our futures, and we will not let them do that. We will not go home. This week, we will continue showing up in force. We will strike, and we will fast in solidarity. On Friday, we will come together in DC, or we will strike all over the country. And again, if you can keep filling out that sign-up form and share how you are all doing, and share how you will be taking action this week. Go ahead and keep sharing, or keep filling out that form. And I think that the link should now be shared for the toolkit. So you should be able to get some more information there. It's a little bit of a bare bones toolkit. Stuff has been getting thrown together. That toolkit will be getting updated very frequently this week. But again, continue to fill out that sign up form. And as you do, I am going to pass it over to Esther to close us out with some final things on actions that have been going down today.
Hi, I'm Esther and I'm 18. So just like a lot of you or all of you, our future is going to depend on honestly like these next few weeks and days even. So I just got back from being arrested at Josh Gottheimer's house. Josh Gottheimer is a congressman in New Jersey. He's my congressman, and he is the main person in the House who is a Democrat that is fighting against the $3.5 budget reconciliation because he has a lot of corporate donors and he really he's a corporate Democrat. He's not really a Democrat. And he's fighting against the Democrats that we've finally convinced them to be on board with no climate, no deal. And they're only going to vote for the infrastructure package, the Exxon package, if the budget reconciliation gets voted on. But Josh Gottheimer does not want the budget reconciliation to get voted on. So he's fighting against it. And New Jersey hubs have been going to his offices and trying to get him to pay attention and doing actions against him for a while now. And he has been ignoring us and ignoring everyone. So we had to go to his house today and we were in his driveway and he was really feeling the heat and he got us arrested because he is really feeling the heat. He knows he does not want people demonstrating on his lawn. His neighbors were hearing us. A lot of his constituents probably are going to hear about this. He does not want that because he knows that he's lying to his constituents and pretending like he's fighting for them when he's really fighting for his corporate donors. But he's really feeling the heat, and so is Joe Manchin, and so is all of these different senators and Congress people and presidents and everybody that we're targeting right now. They're really feeling the heat, and that's why we cannot turn it down now. So that is what this week of action is for. It's to keep putting this pressure on, and we're not letting up. We're not going to let this moment pass us by because we're so close, and we have the pressure turned on all the way. So we just cannot let it go now. And so that's why I'm gonna put it back to Audrey to close us out and tell us the final thoughts for this call.
Wow. Thank you so much, Esther. Thank you to everybody who joined today, all the people in New Jersey and in Arizona who totally threw down today. Again, continue to fill out this sign-up form. We want to know how you're taking action and how you're participating with us this week, whether that's by fasting in solidarity on Thursday, joining us in DC, or striking in your own community. What we do this week, what we do this week is going to change everything. And it's also going to inform what happens next week, how many people join us, and also like what happens in Congress. So if this is big and if we force Joe Biden to hold his ground on climate, we will have a really big opportunity next week to just keep up the momentum and absolutely bring this stuff home. So we're all in this fight together. Again, I'm going to leave this call open for a little bit as folks continue to fill out the form. But thank you all so much for being here tonight, for being in this fight with us. I am really ready. I'm so angry. I am not afraid though, and I really feel the power of this movement. So thank you all so much. Yeah, and we're gonna close it out there. Bye, y'all.